Hello. Welcome along to episode 251 of Adventures in Pop. My name is Simon Jacobs, and thank you for coming along. And now that you're here, I can start. And I want to take you behind the scenes in this episode of a song that I've written this week. And because I was writing it this week and thinking, it'd be quite nice to talk about the songwriting process in one of these episodes, I just spent a little bit more time, I think, as I was going through the normal process of writing a song. I was trying to be a bit more conscious of what I was doing so that I could explain it. And I think this is something I possibly don't do often enough, because I think there is something very difficult to explain and describe as you go through that process of writing a song, whether it's a good song or a bad song. That's not really the point at this stage. I think just sort of sitting down and thinking, right, how does it work? What do I do? What do I do first? And, where do I go next? For some of you, if you are in the, business of writing songs for pleasure or professionally, in whatever way you do it, I think, me going through it now, some of this is going to be blooming obvious to you. You've probably been doing it for years and years and years, and I'm not here to patronise you with my right method. But I still think it's really interesting, and I find it interesting even for me because, I like to sort of think there's a process that I kind of follow, and I'm quite aware that can feel and look pretty random, and it rather depends on so many factors. Is the song going well? Am I kind of swept along in a rush of excitement, or am I working at it very mechanically, hoping that at some point it's going to catch fire and I'm going to start dancing around this little studio? That does occasionally happen, but sometimes it's really hard work, and sometimes it just happens immediately. Okay, and the other thing is, it depends sometimes what time of the day it is. Am I trying to be really quiet because people have gone to sleep and I don't want to upset the neighbours? There's a lot that is going to make quite a difference. Do I have hours to spend, or have I only got 10 minutes? I'm just trying to squeeze something in the 10 minutes because I'm desperate not to forget something. And some of that was going on in this process. So look, this started a few days ago. I think I was wandering around the house doing nothing much, and one line came to me. And this is often how it works, just one line, one tiny bit of melody, and you think, oh, that's quite interesting. I don't know what this is about yet. And let me show you. This line, okay, turned out then to be the first line of the song, as is quite often the case, because it's your little launching pad to kind of get you going. So I'll play you my first line. This was the first line, and this is pretty much all I had in my head. You've been messed around, you've been deceived. The truth you dismissed, the lies you believed. And that was really all I had. So armed with only that, I then came in here and started working out what key I was kind of singing in, what kind of tempo I'm going, set a little metronome on on my program here. And then, I went through a process then over a period of time of trying to get tunes down, of thinking, if I go to this chord, what happens if I go to this chord? And doing that whole thing of thinking, this is probably a verse, so let's just get something that feels versy. And once I'd finished that first section, I thought, okay, so where do I go next? And one of the things that's interesting here is I'm aware of doing this thing quite often, not being conscious of it in the moment, but only in retrospect. Is, for those of you who are interested, the verses are in a major key, and then this little bridge that comes along is in a minor key, is E major to E minor. So it's not even going E major to its relative minor. It's just going E major, E minor. And when it gets to the chorus, it goes back to a major key. So I worked at this little bridge, and while I'm working the bridge, I am thinking to myself, is this a chorus, or is this am I still leading into a chorus? And that's quite a big decision. That's kind of, does this feel catchy, hooky enough the answer was obviously no, because I thought, okay, so keep this bit a little bit short, this new minor key thing, and then I'll go to a major key. I probably didn't even think major and minor at that moment. I was just thinking, what sounds good? Where am I heading? And at that stage, I don't think I really knew what the song was going to be about. And I want to talk about this for a second. In the end, when it came to doing words, the song is about, it sounds as though I'm singing it to someone. Okay, and this is because I think that's just more, it's more engaging, it's more direct, it's more like I am singing it, to you. And so you can focus it in that way. It makes it less kind of general. I know some people who might have done this. You want to kind of hone it down to something specific, because it feels more direct. It feels more like it's important to you, and that is quite an important thing, I think, in songwriting. Otherwise, it can all sound vague and ethereal. And if it does sound vague and ethereal, from my point of view, if I sort of feel like the singer, the artist, is a bit detached from what they're singing about, maybe they don't care that much, then I'm not going to care that much either. I'm taking my cue from them, and I think that happens quite a lot. Okay. So all I want to say is, in the end, I've written something that sounds like I'm singing it to a person, and I'm asking that person to, come back to the real world and carry on living their normal real life. Okay. Actually, I think this is about a whole bunch of people. So this is something that I quite often do, is I'm not writing anything particularly autobiographical. It's not particularly true, but there are bits that have the bits I've taken from some real life things, but I've taken them from all over the place. So it's like, I'm sitting there, I'm the spider in my web, and all these things will fly into my web, and I'll think, okay, yeah, I can use that. No, I'm not fond of that. That's nice. So I'm picking and choosing the things that I want to use, and I'm putting them all together into one song. But actually, the inspiration, there's that horrible word again, comes from all over the place. That's probably really normal, and you probably do it all the time. But I'm just trying to explain those kind of decisions. Am I trying to be authentically true to one specific story? And I think I used to do that, and I don't see the point anymore. I think if there's a song that can be a better song with better words, maybe a better melody, that isn't true, or is taken from lots of bits and pasted together into one new truth, I think that's okay. And maybe it's easier to write songs like that, because you don't have to wait until you've just had an experience to write about. I'm not Adele just having a breakup and I can just write it all very raw and go into the studio and there's my monster-selling album. Bless. So where did we got to? Okay, so basically what I did is, armed with this one line in my head, which you heard, I then went and wrote 3 sections, a verse, a bridge, and a chorus. But when I say wrote, I should be clear really, what I was doing was recording some nice music, some instrumental, without any idea how I was then going to sing something onto it. And by quite late on the kind of first day, I basically had a sort of an instrumental. And the job then was, if I was happy with how it was looking, the fact it was going, verse, bridge, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus, and then it was over. And that seemed to be about the 3 minutes and something seconds. That's all cool. But then quite late at night, I was left with that arduous task of thinking, right, now's the time to turn it into an actual song with actual words that fit into the actual melody. That's quite tricky. And what I want to play you is a stage that I go through quite often to get to that point. I remember watching, it might have been Let It Be. It was one of those Beatles films where it's an actual documentary, and there's John Lennon and Paul McCartney working out a song. You know, I think it's Paul McCartney's song, but he hasn't really finished it, and he's got a melody, but he's not quite sure what to write exactly in this situation. And John Lennon says to him, just sing anything, sing words that make no sense, just sing nonsense, but it will help you get the melody, get the rhythm of the words right. I do that quite a lot. And to prove that point, slightly embarrassing, what I would like to do, I'm going to play you a little bit of my my voice thing in my phone, my voice recorder on the phone, because quite late at night I'm sitting downstairs playing this instrumental I've made over and over and over again, finding ways to kind of get into a melody that takes us from that verse into the bridge, into the chorus. And as you can tell, I've got a few words at the beginning and I run out pretty quickly, and I'm blary, larring, and the odd strange word comes into my head. Have a listen to this. You've been deceived, all the truth you dismiss, but the lies you believe. Now I know that you've been lied to. You've been taken for a fool. You've been fooled. Got a rule. Got a bone. Got a bone. Okay, so that is a stage that I go through, and what that's doing is pinning down some kind of melody, a bit of rhythm, and from that, words are more likely to flow. And in this case, I was quite pleased with the words. There were just a few nice, line couplets that I was in favour of, and helped me move through that momentum of getting to the end of the song and actually finishing writing it. Because what I tend to do is I'm writing and I'm sort of arranging at the same time. I'm doing some of the arrangement, and I'm quite likely to be changing quite a lot of things. It's a very fluid stage of the songwriting process because things are getting recorded. I'm firming up a kind of an instrumental base, a foundation for this song. But as I'm doing it, I'm getting the words, I'm changing the words, I'm possibly changing bits of melody. And as I do that, I'm thinking, okay, this bit of the song needs to be strengthened. That bass sound I've got is no good. So sounds are getting replaced with other sounds as I'm going through and building it up, until I get to a point where I feel like, the arrangement is now there. And then I can make sure that I can start recording all of it, put the vocals on, clean up the arrangement. Quite often at a late stage, I will change an entire drum pattern because it's not sounding right. Because by then I've got a much better idea of what the song actually requires. I might record a guitar section and think, oh, that's great, that really helps in the songwriting process, but it's not the guitar section that I want on the final arrangement. I have to do it again. And often that's because when I'm writing it, I'm in a hurry, because there's always this concern that I'm going to forget what I'm doing, lose the plot, lose the gist, wonder how I got here, and not know how to return. So there's a kind of urgency in the writing just to get it all down. And if I play some bum notes, and believe me, yeah, I do, on the guitar, there's plenty of those, then I go back afterwards when I'm a bit more secure about the whole song and the arrangement, what it's supposed to do, and I'll do the guitar all over again. So there's whole loads of the track and the arrangement that are being replaced as I'm going along. So that's quite interesting, quite fun, I think, and it certainly means that the whole thing is changing rapidly until I get to that point where, I feel like, right, that's it. Which I've just about got to, like today. So today, when did I start writing this? Probably 3 days ago. And today I'm sort of, clearing up the amount of reverb. And so I'm into the little details about clarity and production, really. So that's it. This song, in the end, is called Come Back. In the chorus, it was really important to try and find 2 syllables that would be the basis of that chorus. And you'll see how that works. Now, what I've done actually is put a whole song together with a video, and I'm going to play it to you. Before I go, I would just like to say, It's You came out last Friday. Please go and check it out. First single of a new batch of tracks and a new album coming soon. There will be another single at the beginning of October. And just next week, at the end of next week, will be the first single in a very long time from Rothman and Jacobs, so be upstanding for that next week. But in the meantime, here is Come Back. Bye-bye. You've been messed around, you've been deceived. The truth you dismissed, the lies you believed. Someone should be put away for all the time they stole. Year after year, lost down the rabbit hole. You can gaslight a nation till there's no one you can trust. They offer you your daily bread, but you only get the crust. Then they leave you stranded out on your ass. I think it's time that you came back through the looking glass. There must be a way you can rediscover your self-worth. Everybody needs you to come back to planet Earth. And now's not the time to talk about the cost. For far too long you've been lost. Come back. Oh, maybe the stars will heal. Come back. You're still telling me that someone framed you. Come back. Do you remember how you used to feel? Come back to the time before the darkness claimed you. No one takes responsibility. No one puts their hands up and says it might have been me. With just an ounce of humility, think what a better place this could be. You've been messed around, you've been left for dead. You thought they were listening to what you said. Maybe that's the biggest joke, like they really care. When they despise the people who put them there. There must be a way for you to turn around. Everybody needs you to be standing on the ground. Now's not the time to talk about the cost. For far too long you've been lost. Come back. Oh, maybe the scars will heal. Come back. You're still telling me that someone framed you. Come back. Do you remember how you used to feel? Come back to the time before the darkness claimed you. Come back. Oh, I think that one day you'll be forgiven. Come back. I don't know how long it takes. Come back. Oh, it's said that life is for living.